So what happened when you started the academy? Can you kind of walk us through that? Like, when did you get your first client? What was your financial journey?
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
So when I got started, I tried to dive in right away and like really like get through all the different modules of the course and get through everything as quickly as I could to get set up and get moving. I have probably spent an average of maybe 10 hours a week. A lot of weeks have been less time that I spent on it than that. Not very many really have been more than that. Only when we've been like, oh, let's make a little push to like get a little to get a cleanup client done or something. But overall, I really have not. I've really let it grow on the side. It took a couple of months to get my first client. I think I got my first clients in the month 3 probably. And I actually got several small clients like all at once. It was kind of crazy. So really, I would say like January of 2023. So I was like, I don't know, month 5 or 6. I feel like I've started seeing more of kind of one client a month increase on average. Anyway, because of that, I feel like for me, it really, the overall journey has looked like just like this steady growth. That's been really fun to watch and exciting because it's like, wow, I have not been killing myself, and this is still growing and becoming something so awesome for our family.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Stay at Home Bookkeeper Academy podcast. We empower busy moms and aspiring entrepreneurs to start a thriving bookkeeping business from home with practical tips, expert interviews, and real life success stories. Thanks so much for hopping on here.
Yeah, no problem.
So, I would love to just dive in and start with the first question that I always ask everybody. What made you want to start a bookkeeping business and join the academy in the first place?
So this has been, for years, my husband and I have talked about me finding or creating some kind of at-home job that I could do from home that would have flexible hours so I could still be home with our kids. I wanted something that I could kind of channel a different energy into, besides just being at home on the ground with toddlers. I wanted, something that different kind of mental stimulation, I guess. And so wanted something like that, but wanted something that would fit our family, that would be beneficial to me as individually, but also for our family as a whole, financially and just for our overall lifestyle. So we talked about it for just over and over again for years, and really had a lot of very specific requirements of what this ideal job would look like. And it was just, we were not coming across it. And then I'm pretty sure I was listening to a podcast that I had listened to for years. And I think that you were a guest on it. I think that.
Oh, nice.
And so, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then I went and looked into it, and we were just it was kind of a weird moment where wow, this fits every single one of these boxes. And up until that point, we really hadn't had anything that checked all of our boxes, even close to that. So anyway, I love the idea of creating my own schedule, having it be, be worth the time and money, not just a $10 an hour kind of job that feels like, okay, well, I could save that by being smart with my groceries this week. We wanted it to feel more worth it, not have a lot of, overhead costs or expenses and just all those things. And it just worked out too. I had not really considered it before, but I love numbers and organizing and reconciling and budgeting and all those things. And so when I was like, I could do this for other people and get paid, it just kind of all fell into place so well. And
I love that. Yeah, I love it. So it's not hard. This is something that you find to be fun and stimulating.
yes.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So specifically, what were the list of requirements that you and your husband talked about? Obviously flexible and, high paying, but were there anything else that you felt like, oh, this is perfect for you?
I really liked that not only was it flexible, like I could, but the hours, like I could choose to make it a 5-hour a week job or a 20-hour a week job, and I could choose what time of day. Like I wasn't held to anybody else's schedule because I'm already held to my children's schedule. And so I was like, I can't do both. And so that was really nice because some of the other things I'd looked at just was like, I can't commit to being available to answer phone calls during like your specific times. I need to be able to do that for myself. So it really was like, what is going to fit, what's going to be comfortable for our family. And like I said, I mean, I think having low expenses, so not having to necessarily like have product or inventory on hand,
Right.
or and just having a service too. We wanted it to be something that like I enjoyed, that wasn't just like, so I'm doing this to get a paycheck, but something that could be fulfilling. And the last was, longevity. Like, could this sustain us? Could this be a long-term thing that we could keep going and not just be like a temporary, we'll do this for a year or two.
Right. Yeah. And have you felt like that's definitely been the case?
Yeah. So there were a lot of these things that like from the get-go, just from learning about the academy, that I was like, that seemed like, okay, this really fits and matches. But now after having been part of it for a year and kind of running my business for a year, it's just been so cool. Like just over and over again, we're like, wow, like the potential is unlimited with this. Like we could make this whatever we want it to be, which is just so, I mean, it's so cool. It's so empowering and freeing to know like, okay, we could grow this to be huge, and I like as big as we want it to be with me at the helm and really running it, or we could create it. We could eventually, be contracting out a lot of work. So it's just more of a managerial position for me, and it could be kind of almost like a passive income stream in a way. And so not really passive, but like a simple thing that is kind of running on its own. So just like the flexibility has been really cool to see in action.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's just the perfect type of business, especially for moms.
Yes.
Just, design your life around it. But it gives you the freedom to be able to, spoil your kids or live a really good life for your family.
Yeah. That's been really cool too. Cause like, it's not a minimum wage job by any means. And you can make your own prices too. So like, it's just cool to see, not only is it flexible time wise, but yeah, the financial side, just, wow, what could this make possible in our lives? It's really, cool.
Absolutely. So, what are some of the things that you've done with some of your earnings? Have you guys been able to, utilize that stuff to give you more flexibility and freedom?
One thing that it's done is actually my, so it has allowed us to, we were really trying to get a healthy emergency fund. So that's what it kind of helped us with at first, was just, let's get that just so we can be more comfortable and really feel good about moving forward and other things. My husband's job, he just had a weird job transition that actually turned out to be really great for him. But just like there was a couple month period that was just a little bit funky with it wasn't our typical incomes that we were used to. And so that kind of easily bridged that gap. There was really no financial stress during that time. We didn't have to touch our emergency fund because his has been our primary income. So that was nice. This year is of course in 4 to 6 month period, both our cars had decent sized repairs and needed new tires and all those things. So like those weren't exciting, but it was so nice to be like, it's not stressful. Like this is not isn't like a heavy thing. Like we're not worried about it because we had that extra money tucked away. And then the fun thing that I would say is we just got back actually from like a 1.5 week road trip along the Gulf Coast. Went to a ton of new places, and it was really fun. We felt like, oh, we can stay at this a little bit nicer hotel because we're like, we have money set aside for this now. Whereas before it's like, okay, if we're going to go on a little road trip, like it's got to be really stick to the budget. And so it was just, we didn't even like splurge on anything really, because we're pretty frugal as it is, but it was just nice to feel like there was a little wiggle room. Like, and that's not something that we've ever had. And so.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's one of the things I always used to tell people. A side effect of starting your bookkeeping business is that you don't really have to budget anymore if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Always still good to track your finances, but it's nice to have that flexibility if you just want to, just go out and do something fun and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people ask me too, well, if you start a business, like how do you take vacation? So how did you handle that being gone for a week and a half?
Yeah. So what I did, I just got, so I have my clients that are, some that I do kind of at the beginning of the month and some that I do like middle to end of month, just depending on when their statements close and when they get their stuff to me. So anyway, I just took care of as many, like I just tried to work ahead a little bit. And then several of my clients, the work that I need to do, I'm just waiting on people for. I'm just waiting for them to get information to me. So I in the week, I tried to follow up a couple of times and tried to make sure that like before I left, I had reached out and done everything that I could for each client up to that point. And then I felt like, okay, I can take this week off. And I checked my email each day just to make sure there was nothing that they needed quickly, like if they needed a report pulled or something. But and I just let them know I'm out of the office, but if you have an urgent need, like you can always reach me by phone. I can be available to you, but I didn't have to sit down and do any of my bookkeeping work while we were gone. And now that we're back this week, it's not like I have a ton piled up on my plate because I worked ahead pretty efficiently, I think. And so now it's just like, okay, I'm going to keep going. So with this month. And so, yeah, it was really nice to just like almost completely forget about it and just check out and enjoy vacation.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's been my experience too. It's like bookkeeping typically doesn't have any like emergency deadlines unless you're maybe doing like invoicing for a client or maybe you submit their payroll for them. But other than that, it's so flexible throughout the month that if you wanted to take a week off every single month and just not work that whole week, you probably could. You could really set your schedule that way. So
yeah, I enjoyed that last year around the holidays, just because we were hosting family and stuff, and so I feel like in December of last year I like worked the minimal amount of it. Like I did nothing extra. I was like, I'm just gonna meet your basic needs, like whatever, like, and so I did not work very many hours that month just because it was so busy. But I could. And then when January came, I was like, wow, that was really cool that I still made money. I'm still making money now. Everyone still is happy, but I could make the schedule I needed. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's always been another favorite perk too, is like the holidays really slow down. Even from like Thanksgiving, like mid-November to the end of the year, you can really just work very minimally because really you got to wait till January to finalize everything for their tax return anyway. So January becomes kind of a little bit of a heavier load month, but that gives you like a lot of time during the holidays to just like be with family. And I know a lot of my clients, they were always doing the same thing during the holidays. So the business owners that you work with typically aren't even really needy during that time either because they're doing the same thing. So it's just like a perfect match there. Yeah,
definitely.
So how old are your kiddos and what has it been like? Have you been working at home with them or how does that look for your schedule?
Yeah, so I have two little boys. They are 4 and 2 right now. So when I started, they were 3 and 1, I guess. But so they are busy little boys. There's nonstop, never ending energy. And so, the last year it's been fitting it into nap time, or occasionally I've had little periods where a family friend they've had a daughter home from college or something, and so I've kind of utilized a little babysitting here and there. Not a lot though, just because I wasn't like making enough at first to feel like I didn't want to like keep spending money on that. And so really, up until like about a month or two ago, it had been just like squeezing it in wherever it fit. And that was hard in a lot of ways, just because I didn't like feeling like I kind of had a foot in both doors. Like I had a foot in mom mode and a foot in work mode, and I didn't love that. Also, they're really loud during phone calls, and so that's not very helpful. But with my husband's work transition, just a couple months ago, it has actually allowed me to kind of set my own work hours, and not even that it's that much. Like, I mean, I pretty much have like 10 hours set per week that are like, these are blocked out for me to work because he's at home and available to be fully with the kids. And so that has been really nice, because then outside of those hours, I can just turn off work mode and be fully focused on my family, which is kind of what we wanted to get to. It just had with his work schedule and just how it was, our different situations that hadn't happened until a couple months ago. But I think that will be what it looks like for forever now, and which is really nice, because it feels a lot better, and that allows me to be present with them and with work.
Yeah, for sure. I know that a lot of people, start the business so they can be home and stay home with their kids and things like that too. And a lot of people do like to just work with them, like with, right there, whatever. And at some point, usually people are in the same situation as you, where they're like, okay, I think that I would really enjoy having my own little quiet designated work time. And then be able to then spend a bunch of time with the kids still, but fully focused. So that's where I got to that point as well too. I worked alongside my kids, my 3 kids. I only had 3 at that time, and was working really, really hard. And you feel like you're just always doing something, right? Like you're growing the business and you're helping your clients, or you're growing your family, or helping your family, or helping your kids, or doing some that task. So it's just like 24 hours a day you're doing something. But when you have a goal, like my goal for me was to get my husband home. So I knew right from the bat, like as soon as I got my first few clients, that I wanted to grow my business big. So even though I didn't want to miss out on my kids at all, and I definitely didn't want them to go to a stranger, like daycare or something like that. So I was excited too, like you, when my husband came home, and then I could work 2 or 3 hours a day without being interrupted, and then speed through it really fast, and then be able to hang out with them the whole rest of the day and do whatever we want.
Yeah, it's crazy how much faster you work when you're not interrupted every 30 seconds. And then you have to take another 2 minutes to be like, where was I on this spreadsheet or on this bank statement? Like, it's so nice.
It is. Yeah. But it's so flexible that you can do it in a pinch. You can, give them a tablet, turn on the TV if you really have to, just to that season, to get to that point where you've got that goal or whatever. So
yes, it's nice. It's definitely doable, but it's just cool to reach that.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Okay, so can we dive in a little bit to your background? I know you said you like organizing, you like numbers. What is your education and experience prior to jumping into bookkeeping?
So I got my degree in secondary education. So like teaching middle school and high school with the focus. I focused on social studies, just so covered kind of a broad range of topics. And I really enjoyed my education. And I love learning. I was always a kid that loved school. So thought I'd like being in schools, and I think I would be fine in school, but I just realized especially after having kids, I was like, I don't think I want to teach full-time in a classroom anyway. Anyway, so, and I really appreciate and admire all the teachers out there, because I think it is such a hard job that is so underappreciated. I was like, okay, I don't think I'm actually going to pursue that. I'm glad I got a degree. But yeah, so I didn't really I worked a couple of kind of like through college, worked a couple office jobs, like career services, kind of different things. But I didn't really have any bookkeeping experience before I joined the academy. And so, it was mostly just like I have always been the person like my friends and family have come to for help with budgeting or like getting spreadsheets, number, like those kind of things organized, and I love like reconciling my own budget every month. Like it just things. And so, but I didn't really have any like actual work experience in bookkeeping or accounting. My dad's a CPA, but it's not. And so that was, there's a light familiarity, but it's not like I went to work with him and was like, oh, this is what I want to do. Or he wasn't coming home and teaching me fun facts about it. So there's just a little familiarity there.
Okay. Awesome. I love that. So do you feel, how do you feel the Academy helped in the best ways to support your learning and education, and then also like business development?
Oh, so I loved that the Academy was just like a quick, not maybe quick isn't the right word, but just like a very direct, focused course on the basics of bookkeeping. Like, what do you need to know to do a basic month of bookkeeping for a business? It obviously didn't have all the different like nuances of different industries, but it had the basics that I needed as a very good foundation. The business development and setting up my business, I love that it had everything I needed to know. But it was only that, and it was very focused on your bookkeeping business. Like, you set it up an LLC, get a bank account. Like, it just had all the steps, very great actionable items to go through and check off. And so I love that, because like, I don't mind doing research and learning things myself, but it would have taken me so much longer to go online and kind of figure out how to start a bookkeeping business. There would have been so much more trial and error. And so to have it just laid out for me, like, this is what you need. This is what you like. You don't need these things. Like, don't get distracted here. Just like focus on this. And as far as the business setup, and then I felt like with the course, the videos that were on there, I felt like I could do the first parts of bookkeeping, my first couple of clients, the first couple of months, and getting cleaned up. I felt like those really set me up well. And I think it made a lot of sense. It was like it was a pretty easy thing for me to take to grasp and to get going on, just because it made sense in my head. It worked. Just that's how my brain works anyway. And I'm pretty thorough and detail oriented with that. So I appreciated that was the focus, like just having accurate records. So anyway, I thought it was awesome. My husband was talking about starting his own kind of business in his field. And he was like, I want to find a course like yours that just tells you what you need to know and what you don't need to know, because he doesn't want to get lost in the weeds. So
I have talked to so many students that they are in the same spot as you. They get their business going. Their husbands are like, sure, okay, let's see what happens. And then they end up growing it so fast and making great money and not really working a ton. And then the husbands are like super inspired to either come and work with them or start their own thing. That's really exciting. Yeah. Well, really cool. If he needs some help, don't hesitate to reach out to me, because I know a lot of people, especially a lot of coaches. So if there's another little industry that he wants to get into, I'm always happy to help you guys. So what were some of your biggest cleanup jobs? What are some of your biggest months of revenue?
So that month 3, I got, at the very end of that month, I got a $4,000 cleanup job, which was really exciting, because obviously, that was.
I remember helping you on a one-on-one call with that client, I think.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I got that client through like a CPA referral, and that's one of my favorite clients now. They're not even my biggest clients, but they're now they're pretty streamlined because I've done cleaning. So they're just really great to work with. But so that was a big cleanup. I have definitely underquoted on a lot of cleanups. So they have several of them. I'm like, oh, that definitely could have been bigger now that once I got into the work, but that's fine. I'm currently doing a cleanup. I'm in the middle of a cleanup that the total was $7,500.
Nice.
And he wanted to break it up into like 5 months of 1,500 payments. So it's not like I didn't see it all at once, but it's awesome to have,
that's great.
extra each month for 5 months. And then I actually have another client that I actually signed several months ago, and he's been, but he just I haven't gotten into a lot of his work, but he signed on. And so he's been paying the monthly, but he has not paid his cleanup fee yet, which is so and he hasn't given me some of the information I need. So it's kind of odd. It's kind of in this weird standstill where I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for you. You're paying me some. But anyway, that cleanup is $8,000. And so so I'm like, also, it would be cool if you would.
If you could move forward.
But I'm just waiting for him. He's just been slammed, like business owners, so busy. And so once I just get him down to get the 2 pieces of information I need from him and get that cleanup, but
awesome.
But that's it's good. So those are exciting. Those are the big ones for sure.
I love that.
So yeah, with those, I think that the biggest month. So I mean that when I had the $4,000 cleanup, that was a bigger month for me. That month was, and then really, since then, my biggest month besides that, I would say, was probably starting, like, it was June, just a couple months ago.
Okay.
And just because I signed on a big new client, the $7,500 cleanup client. He's $1,000 a month. So that increased my recurring income a lot. So, my recurring right now since June has been like about 4,000 a month, but adding on his cleanups, and I also did another cleanup in July. It was just like a one-time cleanup. So anyway, since then, I mean, since June, it's been 5,000 or more per month.
Awesome.
So that's been exciting.
Yeah, congratulations. That's fantastic. Thanks. Yeah. So have you calculated up how much you've made since you started your business? Which is so like 11 months or no, 13 months?
Yes. Yeah. So total, oh, I wrote it down. Let me find the right number. I think that since I started, so in my first 6 months or so, it was around, right around 8,000, maybe 8,500 total. And then but total. So in my first 13 months, I think this year I'm at like 25,000. So overall, I think I'm close to, it's close to 35,000, over the first year. And like I said, and I'm sure that if I had hustled more, it could have been a lot more than that. But
that's great.
I didn't, and
to be at that with not really having to work very hard.
Yes, exactly. I'm still it almost feels wrong. I'm like, this is not the narrative that I have always experienced or told myself. And so that's really cool. And it's nice because now, I mean, looking forward, okay, even if I didn't get any new clients, from here on out, and I was really at, 4,000 a month, I mean, that's almost $50,000 per year that, I mean, I never would have dreamed that I would be at that point.
Yeah.
1 year into starting my own business. We always kind of talked about starting a business, but it seemed like such a big thing, would require so much hustle. And so I'm still, when I think about it, I'm like, this is crazy that I'm at this point. So
I know, I think that's why so many people they'll learn about it or see our ads or something, and they're like, this is a scam. This is too good to be true.
Yeah. I often think I'm living it, and I'm like, I just don't know. It's so cool. And it's sustainable. There really isn't I mean, maybe some of my clients, maybe their businesses will go under, or they decide to go with a different bookkeeper at some point for some reason, but still it really looks like there's only growth from here.
Yeah. Typically the reoccurring revenue just goes up every month. Even if you sometimes lose a client here and there, you're usually gaining them. So, it evens out. So speaking of gaining clients, how can you go into a little bit of detail on how you have gotten some of these clients, where they came from?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, well, my favorite way to get them is through one of my favorite is a CPA referral. Like that's nice because obviously it requires so minimal effort. Like it's not marketing effort.
Best way.
So I've gotten 3 clients that way. 2 of them were during tax season. And so there were a little bit more of a time crunch just trying to get that because they didn't want to file extensions if possible. But so I've gotten 3 of my clients that way. And then my first like 4 clients, I had 5, but one of them it's business. Anyway, one of them dropped off. But the first 4, well, a couple were through the mass email.
Oh, nice.
And then so anyway, I did that, and I personally didn't love it for myself, but I did get a couple of small clients, and so I was really, I was excited. It was helpful to start with that, to have something to help me gain a little traction. So I got 2 small clients from that. I got a couple of clients through Facebook groups, local Facebook groups that what I did, because I just really, I get so, I don't like sales stuff usually, at all, just anyway. And so, but I introduced myself on some local mom Facebook groups, and just introduced my family because we were kind of fairly new to the area, and then kind of added as a second paragraph. I also run my own bookkeeping business to make it so that wasn't the focus. It wasn't really
nice. Smooth.
And so that was really cool. It was nice because I've met a lot of cool people that way, but also it just felt like a little bit more authentic way to talk to people. Yeah. And so with that, I got a couple of I think actually 3 of my clients came from those kind of posts. So that was pretty cool. And then one of my clients is a friend that was starting his own business, and I'm actually have a meeting after this with another friend that is starting his own Cookie Co franchise, and he needs someone to do his books. So anyway, so a couple friends, that works out nicely. And then the others I have really come through on Facebook. I just kind of did a separate little training on some Facebook marketing and how to kind of direct my focus there, because I know in the academy that was talked about a lot, and I think that was even more in more detail on the calls. But I just started kind of focusing a little bit more on that, adding people in kind of the niche that I was interested in, and then making posts just for them. I didn't want to post to everybody. I didn't want to spam my family and friends with business related posts. And that's and that was just for me. I just didn't want to do that. Because honestly, I don't really even mind when my family and friends do it. It just my comfort level for me. But it's been nice because then I feel
so
comfortable.
how'd you do that? Did you just create a filtered group or something?
Yes. So what I did was I have a family and friends list. And so I post to everybody that is not in that family and friends list.
Oh, nice.
So that's been kind of nice. It has just helped me relax about it and not overthink it, because I'm okay, I'm just sharing this with the people that are more of a business relation, a business friendship, connection, networking kind of deal. And so that's just made me more comfortable. And so that's been nice.
Everybody has a different comfort level and easing into social media. And I remember feeling those weird feelings about it whenever I first started posting and things like that too. But don't underestimate the power of your family and friends wanting to help you and connections, because I've seen some students get some amazing clients from people they were friends with in high school, seeing their post, knowing somebody who knows somebody, and then they tag them. So work out real well that
I'm
way.
working up my working myself up to do that, because I totally believe that.
Yeah. So, I've always found that really interesting. It's you never know who that next person that you're introduced to or that you meet can totally change your business and change your life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's been cool to see that. So, I mean, I definitely have, at first I was like, I don't want to use social media at all for marketing. Because one, I'm not even a big social media user myself. So I was like, this feels weird. Anyway. And so, but I definitely have I've been softening towards it. And it's been nice too, because I have like through like adding the friends, kind of in some target industries and having those daily posts, like just little posts of a bookkeeping tip or whatever it might be. I've had several people reach out to me. Not that I've signed all of these people. But I've had a lot of people. Yeah. So I've had a ton of people reach out to me. I've had a lot of people that I've reached out to myself, that have made comments about like, oh, I see your post, like it's in their heads at least. So that's kind of cool. Like it reminds them. And so I'm sure I feel pretty confident that like, come tax time, that if they are in a pinch or they're like, oh, I do not want to sift through all of my own books, that they'll know who to go to, which is kind of cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I feel like that's been kind of my focus is, as far as marketing goes, to getting more clients is
awesome.
And going that route.
Yeah. Following the steps. Those are the steps that are outlined.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know you have another meeting coming up. Do you have a couple more minutes for a few more questions?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. So one question I always like to ask is, how do you feel like mindset impacts your business for you? And have you seen others in the group? And like, I always like preach on mindset, but I always like to hear it from, like your perspective. What do you have to say about mindset?
Yes. So one thing for me, I think that I was really fortunate. I've been in a position that, my husband was our primary, brought in the primary income, the breadwinner for the family, and I was able to be home with the kids. So it wasn't, was fortunate that there wasn't any stress or rush or panic with it. Like I didn't have to earn money right now. Like we could live comfortably, meet our needs, with his income. And so, like I said kind of earlier, I was able to go at that more of a relaxed pace. And I think that helped me with mindset. I think it would have been really easy to kind of get bogged down with, oh, I haven't gotten any clients, or I haven't talked to anybody, or this isn't working, if I had been kind of more laser. Yeah. And so I think that helped me a lot, because then I was able to, one thing that has been nice though about this is that this whole journey, there have been so many things that have pushed me outside of my comfort zone. But I've kind of been able to address them kind of one at a time, not all at once. So I've kind of been able to be like, okay, I'm just working on like getting more comfortable with talking to people about my services. I'm going to kind of practice that, work on that, and feel confident in myself. Or I'm going to, focus on marketing. I'm going to go push myself to do social media marketing a little bit more, different things like that. So I've been able to, for me on my journey, it has been, I've been able to kind of do it one step at a time without any kind of frantic pace associated with it, which has really helped me. But I think too that has my confidence, that has really built my confidence, which has been really cool. Just to see with each of those steps. I think that the Academy, being part of that group, just like reading other people's posts or talking to other people and seeing other people on their journey, whether it was seeing them be successful or seeing them work through a mindset hiccup, that was really helpful to like, I would just scroll through the posts on the Academy and and it was like empowering to be like, okay, other people are doing this, but we can, like, there are ways to be successful. And so I feel like, and so that was helpful. I talked to my husband a ton about it, just trying to process through if there was like a hard moment. But yeah, I think that, so I don't know if that's really answering your question very well, but I feel like mindset it would have been so much harder if I hadn't been able to go at that relaxed pace. That's what I needed. I would have totally stressed myself out, been frustrated, impatient. And so
Yeah.
that knowing yourself, I think too, is helpful. And for me, kind of taking it one chunk at a time,
I
made it
think
so it was
it
been a really
allows,
positive.
yeah, and I think it allows you to reflect and be more appreciative of the journey instead of like
Yes.
when people join and they like have to hit this goal by a certain time, it is more stressful and it's a little bit less fun, and you do end up having to work on your mindset a lot more because you're in a just a more negative state of mind. Um, so that's great that you were able to, be more relaxed about it and could be appreciative of what was coming instead of like
Yeah.
need based, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that I could have pushed myself to even hard, like been like really tried to set those specific goals. And I have set goals and I've worked toward things, and I feel like I haven't, just like totally like let it just go wherever the wind takes me. But anyway, but I think that, yeah, I think that their goal setting is super important. But I think that setting my goals, try to do it like push myself, but make it achievable so that I could see success along the way too.
Yeah.
Instead of always like reaching for something that was like felt too far out of reach.
Yeah. And you kind of touched on my next question about like extra skills that you've developed outside of just bookkeeping and necessarily like business ownership. I always say the side effect of the academy is like personal growth as well. So you said like you've gained confidence, you've forced yourself outside of your comfort zone. I mean, that's like more perseverance and things like that.
Yeah.
Are there any other skills that kind of stand out in your mind that you feel like you've developed since becoming a business owner?
I definitely think the confidence has been like the biggest one for me. It's just been cool to see like, hey, I like started my own business and it is been successful. It's been doing it on my own. Like it's just been kind of my own little baby, anyway, so that has been really cool. Just to see that part of myself grow. Especially because I wasn't expecting it. Like I love being home with my kids and I love having that role of being a mom. And that is obviously being a mom and a wife. Those are my most important roles, but it's been cool to have one that's just mine kind of. So that's been cool. And then I think like being able to, I've always been really friendly and I could talk to anybody, but being able to speak confidently to other people about myself and about like the service that I offer. I'm not even like, I think I still have a lot of room to grow with, like, as far as like in the sales, like actually speaking in a way that like that's not like a pushy salesy thing, but just like is good at, helping people see their need for your service. Like I'm not great at that yet, but I feel like I can speak so much more confidently about myself and what I have to offer to someone in the bookkeeping realm. And I think that that's kind of translated in other ways. Like it's just helped me to realize like, oh, I can speak confidently about myself, my abilities, or my skills or experiences, and not a way that's like bothersome to other people, or it's not like a braggy thing. I think that's always been something that I've like just worried about, and I don't like attention. I don't want like the spotlight on me, but to now realize that I can talk to other people, and so being able to talk to someone at church and say, like, when they ask me about my business, I can say it's going really good, or this is what I'm doing. It's just been, that's been really cool for me. It's definitely been so much personal growth that's been fun to feel in myself.
Awesome. I love that. That's so exciting. So if you were to talk to somebody that is considering joining the academy and starting their own bookkeeping business, what words of advice would you have for them?
I would definitely encourage anyone to, like, I feel like I would definitely encourage anyone to join the academy that is willing to, put in the work. Like if you're, if you don't want to put in at least a little bit of work, then it's not good. It's not a good investment. You don't want to spend that money if you're not going to do something with it, of course. But if you're wanting to do that, like, I think that this has been like, I don't know, it has just blessed me, my family so much. Like I would would definitely strongly recommend it to anybody. Even though there is an investment, like you have to pay for the training, like it is worth it over and over again. And even if you don't, like, it's been cool to see, like, you don't need like all the things that are in the ads or whatever, like you don't need experience, and you don't have to spend a ton of time every week, all those things. That's like, they are true. Even though it does sound almost too good to be true, it is true. Like, I feel like for me, a lot of my natural skills and tendencies, the way my brain works, has really been well suited for bookkeeping and accounting. So that has been a natural fit for me. I think that even if it wasn't a natural fit like that, like you could do it, because there is great training provided. And yeah, and I think it's so cool. I love that, like, it's so geared towards stay-at-home parents, because it really just fits so well and I love that there's like the ceiling is like, it's unlimited potential, like just whatever you want to do with it, you can make it work for you, which is something I think is so hard to find. There are so many ads and things about work from home opportunities or starting your own business. But this is, and I've looked at a lot of them. I haven't looked at all of them, but I've looked at a lot of them, and I've considered a lot of them, and I'm a go-getter, and I like willing to put work in. But this has been like just such a good family fit. Awesome. And so, like, anyway, so I would definitely encourage anyone who's thinking about it to join.
Awesome. That warms my heart. I'm so glad it's been such a good thing for you guys. Awesome. So if we have some business owners that are watching that might need bookkeeping services, who are your favorite types of clients to work with so far? I have a lot of different small clients in different industries, but I've really enjoyed so far my work with house flippers have been fun, just to kind of that has been kind of a fun one. And like just contractors, whether they're general contractors or they're more specific, like roofing or fences, whatever it might be. I've enjoyed them just because and I don't know if this is true for everybody, but it is a predominantly male industry, it seems like. And there's women too that are awesome, but I've talked to a lot of the men in this industry that have a lot of really good physical skills, or like manual labor skills. Like, they're very good at what they do, and they can be good at working with people, talking to people, but their admin skills are subpar. And they know that, and so they're very appreciative to get the help. So that's nice to know, like, when you feel like, oh, you need me and you appreciate what I'm doing for you. Yeah. And also, it's really like, they always need their books cleaned up. Like, they're never handing me a clean set of books. And they're usually a big mess. And so, but it's like really satisfying to go through and like clean it all up and be like, okay, here are your nice, tidy reports. So anyway, that has just been kind of a fun, I enjoy interacting with them, and it's fun, and really it's personally satisfying to be like, here is a huge solution to your big problem, your big mess. Yeah. So if you guys really enjoyed this interview and you liked what you heard here, and you are considering wanting to find more information about starting your own bookkeeping business and or joining the Bookkeeper Academy, and you want to learn your options, click the link here and book a free discovery call with our team. We would love to talk to you and see if this is something that would work for your family.